Hi, my name is Tanya Josek, and I want to start with a brief land acknowledgement. The land on which I record this presentation belonged to the Sioux, Miami, Peoria, and Kickapoo nations prior to their forced removal and genocide. I also want to encourage you all to support your Native communities during this pandemic. Today, I want to talk about the statistical vignettes created as a part of Project EDDI. Project EDDI is a group of educational modules which focus on having students, typically undergrads, use large publicly accessible data. While using these data, students must conduct statistical analyses. In a typical class, stats are taught in a straight lecture format. In order to liven up the stats, we decided to teach some of the statistics in the modules in a comic format, which we call statistical vignettes. These vignettes were created to help make the stats more approachable and fun. We hoped that the students would be able to see themselves in the characters in the vignettes and therefore see themselves as someone who could understand and conduct these analyses on their own or as a group. We decided that we would create a diverse cast of characters for the vignettes and hope to make the characters more relatable. Overall, we wanted their development to be thoughtful, careful, and not represent stereotypes of any group of people. So we worked with cultural houses, conducted a survey, and revised our characters based on feedback. We wanted to include a diverse group of people because LGBTQ+, Black, Indigenous, and other people of color are not well represented in STEM. The lack of representation in science and education often causes undergrads to leave STEM. We decided to name most characters after a famous scientist or educator. Each character we have will have a mini biography about the famous individual the character was named after, so students can learn more about these individuals our characters are representing. As I mentioned earlier, we conducted a survey to get feedback about these characters. Our questions focused on determining if the name or appearance of these characters were offensive, or if the characters were relatable, and then how we can improve the characters. Our survey was conducted over a course of 3 months, and we got 67 responses. A majority of our survey takers were white and identified themselves as female. Now I'd like to introduce you to each of our characters. Rita was our first character created, and although she was not named after a famous scientist, the artist that made our statistical vignettes created Rita as a depiction of herself. Overall, survey takers found Rita to be relatable and liked that she had short curly hair and glasses. This character was named after Fatima al-Fahari, who created the oldest university. Survey participants noted that they were excited about this character because it either looked like themselves or a friend or family member doing science, and that they don't usually see this representation in science or education materials. This character was named after Oliver Heaviside, a deaf, self-taught electrical engineer, mathematician, and physicist. Survey participants said that they were excited because either themselves were hard of hearing or deaf or knew someone who was, and they appreciated this representation. This character was named after Mae Jemison, who was an engineer and the first Black woman in space. Someone that took the survey wrote, "This is me," in all caps. Another participant wrote, "I also use these tools," and Mae looks like she is cool and full of life. This character was named after Alexander von Humboldt, who was a naturalist that laid the foundations for modern geography and a member of the LGBTQ+ community. Survey takers said that they liked that this character was gender neutral in appearance, and they found that to be relatable. This character was named after Robin Wall Kilmer, a botanist and ecologist. Robin's appearance was inspired by the art of Oregon Star, a musician and comic book artist. Overall, survey participants were happy with Robin, but asked to improve her eyebrows as they were too thick and seemed angry. This character was named after Aki Kurosi, who was a social justice advocate and teacher. A survey participant wrote, "Look, this looks like me doing science, which is rare to see." And many people said that Aki looks enthusiastic and like she's having fun. Our last character was named after Ralph Braun, who is a self-taught engineer and the inventor of the wheelchair lift for vans. One of our survey takers wrote that they were excited about this character because they are a scientist with an ambulatory disability too. However, we found that we need to improve Ralph quite a bit. Although it was not our intentions, survey takers noticed that the beard of Ralph looked unkempt and it made him look like he was unable to take care of himself and that his wheelchair was not appropriate. We are taking the feedback from the survey very seriously and plan to change as much as we can based on the feedback. We also plan to add a Latinx representative character and hope to conduct an additional survey with the revised and new characters to get more feedback. I want to thank you all for listening to my presentation. I want to thank my funding, the survey participants, the Project Eddie team, and everyone who had helped create these characters and provide feedback on them. Thank you very much.